What's going on, everybody? GiraffeAnatomy here, and I'm coming at you today with another Smite Quick God Guide. Today, the goddess that we are looking at is Ishtar, the Babylonian goddess of love and war. Excited to show this one to you guys today. She's a brand new god at the time of this recording. What we're going to do is we're going to go over her passive, go over her abilities and her kit. Hopefully, by the end of this video, you're able to take Ishtar into any game mode, arena, / conquest, any of them, and be able to use her effectively, right? So that's the goal. What we're going to do is we're going to get into jungle practice here. We are going to get into it and learn about Ishtar. So the first thing to note is Ishtar is a hunter, and she's classified as a physical damage dealer, and her basic attacks are ranged. So normally, with that, you will build her a combination of attack speed, penetration, or crit, right, to do damage with her basic attacks. That's sort of what she is built and designed for.
It's been so long since I felt the sweet bliss of battle. My blood is pumping just thinking about it.
Her blood is pumping. Just letting her finish her monologue there as we get into it. So normally she's going to be played in the duo lane. She's going to be the carry, the ADC, the hunter of Smite, and you're going to do a lot of damage with your basic attacks. However, with the way that her kit is, and we will talk about it a little bit more in depth here in a second, you can turn her into an ability-based hunter. So other hunters that are in this same sort of vein, like Medusa, you have like Amus and Cobb, like there are a few other hunters that have really good damaging abilities or really good poke with their abilities. And it turns them into, instead of doing damage primarily through their basic attacks, right, just holding left click and doing that, they can actually do a lot of damage through their kit itself, through their abilities, through cooldown, through making their abilities stronger, right, with certain items. So we'll talk about that later. And then we will also talk about how she can possibly flex into some other roles, mainly just jungle, as a hunter, just because of the way her first ability works and things like that. But for now, let's go over her passive, let's go over her abilities, talk about what she does and how she can sort of operate, and what her playstyle is. And then we'll talk about how you can build into those playstyles, how you can maximize one effect versus like another, and then how you can possibly play other roles with her as well. So first, let's talk about her passive. Ishtar's passive is called Mark of Vengeance. When Ishtar drops below 75% health, she marks the enemy god that most recently damaged her for 10 seconds. Each time Ishtar deals damage to the marked god with a basic attack, she gains a stacking attack speed buff. If Ishtar receives a kill or assist on the marked god, she gains a movement speed buff. This passive has a 20-second cooldown. So first thing to note, let me do this. Let me grab
a new weapon for me.
Grab a little bit of attack speed here. I'll even grab silver. Right? So I purposely didn't get anything that had like lifesteal or anything to it. What I want to do is show you her passive in action. So right now I'm at 2.02 attack speed. I'm going to get Guan Yu out here. I'm going to have him get me to under 75% health. So once I drop below 75% health, you're going to see a mark appear above him. You see this? Now watch as I basic attack him. See these stacks showing up in the bottom left-hand corner? They max out at 4. And what you do is when you have it maxed out at 4, you get a bunch of attack speed. So I started at 2.02 and I ended up at 2.22, right? That's an extra 0.2 attack speed just from stacking with her buff, right? And you saw once I killed him, I also got the movement speed buff. Now, if you look over here, this passive does have a 20-second cooldown, which means after you get the kill on somebody and you use her passive, you can't activate it again for another 20 seconds. Luckily, it's up. The other thing you need to know about her passive is if you start a fight under 75% health, which I am right now, you will see that the mark automatically starts getting applied. So watch. Mark's already applied, so what I can do is I can stack these. I now have 4 stacks. I'm at 2.22 attack speed, right? Oh. And now that I killed her, I have the movement speed too. Look at my movement speed, 494 right now. And it goes down to 431 once this goes away, right? So that is how her passive works, right? You get the stacking attack speed buff up to 4 stacks as you start attacking them. And then if you're under 75% health, that's when it kicks in. It does have a 20-second cooldown. You saw as soon as it was over, this orb went away inside here, and you'll see it grow. And eventually it'll get as big as the circle again, and then it shines like that. That means your passive is up again. So let's try this one more time. I'll just show you. Once I get under 75% health, there goes the mark. You stack it 4 times. Once you get the kill, see how her passive is reset. You have 20 seconds now until it'll activate again. Your movement speed is increased. And then, you know, we're about like 10 seconds away, it looks like, until it's back up again. So that is her passive. And you can see you get a pretty good attack speed boost. 0.2 attack speed is nothing to scoff at. It will help you do things like stack the passive on Silver Branch Bow, reach that attack speed cap pretty easily. So it's a great passive to have. So yeah, let's talk about her abilities now. So that's basically this. We'll talk about this in a little second and how her kit kind of goes into it. But let's talk about her first ability now. So her first ability is called Imbue Arrows. Ishtar imbues her arrows with heavenly light, enhancing her basic attacks in one of the 3 ways for 5 seconds. The 3 varieties include Strike Shot, a lobbed explosive arrow, and a spread shot. A volley of fire arrows, and Storm Shot, a fast-paced, long-range snipe. Ishtar cannot hit structures during the duration. So basically what this means is normally you have basic attacks and they look like this, right? They're just a normal straight line. You do damage to them. And I'm actually going to do this. I'm going to get rid of Execute. I'm actually going to get rid of all of these, just so you can see what it looks like at its most basic, right? I don't want you to see other numbers and different numbers happen because we're shredding protections or anything like that. Basically, when you attack somebody, right, this is your basic attack speed, and you do 70 damage. If you press your 1, you basically need to choose one of these 3 things. If you don't, and you keep attacking, you will still stay in your normal basic attacks, right? Now, if I choose one of these different shots, it will change the way that her normal basic attacks work. So she basically has the Strike Shot, she has the Spread Shot, and she has the Storm Shot. So let's talk about the Strike Shot first, because it's the first of her 3. So Strike Shot basically makes Ishtar lob bolts that explode in an area. They deal bonus damage. These shots may also be fired over walls. So they basically do bonus damage, but it reduces the amount of crit that you would do to a person, right? So these are kind of like Sylvanas' auto attacks. You know how Sylvanas throws his little balls and they explode and they have an AoE? That's what this is. So if I press this for the next couple seconds, when I attack, they're like this. They kind of lob. Instead of doing 70 damage, they do 94, right? So it's doing extra damage, doing damage in an AoE. And any effect, like basic attack effect that you have on these, will apply to that whole circle, right? So if you have something like Mannequin Scepter that applies burn on an auto attack hit, right? This will apply to this first ability. It can be fired over walls, so if you press it again, right? Yeah, I can fire it over walls. I can fire it here. I can hit multiple enemies with it. So one thing to note real quick, I will just show this to you, because I will bring it up later.
Don't you think this
Get
is
Mannequin Scepter.
much?
You go to clear camp, right? And you use her 1. See how it's applying the burn to all of them just with 1 shot? This will help you clear things like jungle camps pretty fast and pretty easy, right? It also works on lane minions as well. You can actually get multiple lane minions with this and with something like Mannequin Scepter. I will show you here. You can clear the wave as fast as a Sylvanas does. If you've ever been in a lane with a Sylvanas, see how it's hitting multiple enemies and it gets the burn on them too? You can clear lane minions really, really fast with something, right? Just something to note with something like Mannequin Scepter, right? It applies something to auto attacks. This is an AoE auto attack, so it applies to all of them, which is a really great and unique thing for her. So now let's talk about the second one. Second one is called Spread Shot. Now remember, you have to press the ability again to get it working. So once it starts working, this is what Spread Shot looks like. You have your main basic attack, and it stays through this whole thing, right? So you're still going to have the main shot of 70, but when you get Spread Shot, it also spreads out other projectiles. So basically, Ishtar imbues her arrow with heavenly light. Oh, hold on, let's talk about the spread shot. Ishtar notches an additional light arrows and fires 5 shots in a cone. Only the center arrow triggers basic attack item effects. So for this one, unlike this, that would trigger mannequins on multiple, this is not. You would have to hit them with the main basic attack if you want something like Kins or Mannequin Scepter to proc. But you do get extra damage, right? You have the center damage, which is 100% of your shot. Then you have the side damage, which goes up to an extra 10% of your basic attack damage once you have it fully leveled up, right? So if you do something like this and you use it, you can see I'm only doing 70 because I'm not close enough. But if you get closer, you do all the little extra damage, right? So that's one thing about this is you probably want to be really close to somebody when you use the second ability of her 1, right? So 1 and then 2. Because if you get really close, you're hitting them with all of those little extra ones. If you only get the side, see how 2 are kind of missing? I'm hitting him with the basic and an extra 2, but 2 of them are missing. You're going to miss out on that damage, right? This could be good if you're trying to clear something like a camp. If you're trying to maybe hit multiple enemies together and they're kind of all in front of you, right? You can do something like this and you can hit like multiple with it, right? But I wouldn't use it like that. The only time I'd use this is probably if you're like literally right in front of them to do extra damage to them right in front of you. Because it is her 1, it is her basics, plus some extra damage. So you do 1, 2 real quick. You're doing your normal 70 plus all those little extra 7s, and those will get larger as you get more attack speed and more damage and stuff, right? So really you want to do it when you're point blank in front of somebody. That's probably the best case scenario for this because you're hitting them with normal basics plus some extra damage there. You don't normally probably want to do this if they're right in front of you, because it might, I guess with assassins, it might be easy to make sure you're hitting them if you're kind of like throwing your first part of your 1 at your feet, right? And just to make things simple, this is her first ability, so I'm gonna call this like this one 1.1, 1.2, and 1.3, right? So with her 1.1, it might be easy to just put this at your feet if you have an auto attacker on you, right? It will do extra damage. It might be able to like peel them off of you, and you don't have to worry about like not hitting them or something because they have to be really close to you. But I would probably stick to using her 1.2 when you're close range and getting that little bit of extra damage in there as well, right? So let's talk about her 1.3. So her 1.3 is going to be a long range auto attack, kind of like Hachiman's, right? So her 1.3 is called Storm Shot. Ishtar enhances her attack speed and fires quick long range shots that deal reduced damage. So this gives her 40% attack speed when fully leveled up. It starts at 20, goes to 40. Your projectile speed also is increased. So the amount of time that an arrow leaves your bow and hits the maximum range, that is faster. And then on top of that, you get a damage reduction. So it does come at a cost, right? You do a little bit less damage, but you get faster attack speed and more projectile speed. And this is what it looks like. See how much farther of a range that it has? Instead of doing 70, you're doing 38, but you have this range. Look at how much farther that hit. See? No. Well, now I'm doing 40. Actually, let's keep it consistent, right? 70. Let's use our 1.3 again. 56, right? So you do have that reduced damage, but you are attacking faster. Your projectile speed is faster, so it's easy to hit things that are farther away. You can't hit towers or anything like that with her 1.3, right? You can't do any like structure damage with it, but it is good for if you're chasing people down and they're just out of that range, right? Let's say you're chasing somebody and they just get out of your range. You can use your 3 and still hit them. See how I kind of changed my 3 and got Odin? Like when those people are like this much away from dying and you couldn't quite get it. If you're able to switch to that, sometimes you can pick up that kill, right? So I think the damage is offset by it might sound bad at first because it's 20% damage reduction. I think that's offset by the attack speed. You were literally getting more basics off in a shorter amount of time. So you're able to, even though you're doing 20% reduced damage, you're actually getting like maybe 2 or 3 more basics than you normally would, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's like maybe an extra basic or 2. So it does end up probably covering that damage difference. The other thing is this will work really well with something like Silver Branch Bow. and her passive, you're able to get an attack speed buff through this, and you're getting the attack speed buff of 40% through here. You're going to be able to stack Silver Branch Bow very easily with the Storm, right? So we'll talk about builds in just a little bit. We're only done with her first ability, right? Her 1.3. That's her 1.3 right there. Very good for like chase down, just getting that extra kill, some poke here and there, right? Really cool. And I love her first ability. It makes her incredibly versatile. It actually flexes her into probably somewhat of like a jungle role if she can clear buffs with her 1.1, apply mannequins to it. And if at the very least, if you're not playing her in jungle, you can at least farm super effectively in the duo lane, maybe taking the enemy's purple, maybe taking a bunch of camps very easily and very quickly with the mannequin scepter and this ability, right? So she's going to be able to farm very, very effectively in Conquest because of this. Let's talk about her second ability, called Rolling Thunder. Ishtar calls down 4 strikes of lightning in a line, damaging enemies within their area. Ishtar may aim which direction the strikes travel. If an enemy is hit by more than 1 strike, they are mesmerized. So first of all, you get strike damage. Second of all, you mesmerize them if they are hit by more than 1 strike. So this is what the ability looks like. You see there's 4 circles, right? And they overlap. And there's a front half and a back half, right? And if you go over this line right here, you see how there's kind of like a flat line on this second circle here. You go on this side, it's going to start away from you and move towards you. And if you start here, it's going to start at you and move away from you. So I'll show you what this looks like here with Odin, right? So that's what this looks like. 1, 2, 3, 4. They'll hit in a 4-line ability. If you start it at yourself, it'll go from you out. And if you start it on the other side, it'll go from the out in. And you'll see when Odin gets hit by 2 of them, he gets that mesmerize, right? So I'll start it at the other end now. Right? I didn't hit him with 2, but I did start on the other end and come back here. So that is what that does. And you get the mes duration, which is like a very short, like they basically fall asleep, right? Mesmerize is broken if they are hit by any sort of damage or anything like that. So I'll show you one more time here. As Odin's running away, he got hit by 2. You see that short duration. So it's a very great chase down tool if you're running away from somebody. If you're running towards somebody, if you're running away from somebody, placing it at your feet, right? There's multiple ways to utilize this. I think one of the best ways is like if you're running away from someone and you put it at your feet, right? And you do this as they're running with you, they're going to get hit by multiple chasing you, right? It'll give you that short mes duration on them, maybe allow you to get away with your movement ability, right? You can use it defensively. You can also use it offensively. You're jockeying with somebody like this, right? They're on the other side. You want to push them towards you, you can do this, right? So you're basically having an ability come towards you and trap them from the back while you're going forward and attacking them as well. So it's very, very useful. I think there's some utilizations for it. It can help clear wave very easily too. So there's a lot of things you can use this. That's pretty much most of like Rolling Thunder. It's not too complex. It's not as crazy as her 1 just was, right? But it's still a good ability. It still does a lot of damage, right? The ability to kind of bring it from the back to the front or the front to the back gives you some versatility on how to play her and things like that too. So let's talk about her third ability called Jolt. Ishtar draws her blades and charges forward, striking all enemies in her path. If she hits an enemy god, she stops and roots them for 1 second as she backflips off of them. As Ishtar is in the air, she fires her bow, dealing damage in an area around the effective god. This shot may crit and trigger basic attack item effects. This is important to note, right? So first of all, you have the damage of the charge itself if you hit them. Then you have the damage when she backflips and does an attack, right? She'll do arrow damage, which it starts at 20, goes to 60, plus 110% of your physical basic attack power. I'll show you what this looks like. So first of all, it's her dash. So if you do need to get away or run away, this is what you do. Very fast, very straight, very good, right? What a dash should be. But the best thing about this is when you hit an enemy with your dash, what you end up doing. So I'll show you what that looks like on this Odin. See how there's like a circle? That is basically telling you, hey, you're going to hit an enemy god with this. So this is where you will do damage to them. I'll show you here. Really cool, huh? Now let me show you something even cooler. there are certain items that synergize with this. So basic item attack effects. Well, Hydra's,
I'll do anything for power.
if you know what Hydra's passive is, like for 8 seconds after using an ability, your next basic attack will deal an additional 35% damage, right? So right now I'm hitting for 104. If I hit them with this, and then I use this, right, it's going to proc things like Hydra's on them, right? It's going to proc things like, let's see, kin size. Oh, I'm on the fountain. It'll proc the yellow numbers on kin size. It basically procs anything on that arrow damage, right? The crit and crit as well, right? So basic item attack effects. So right here, if you take a look at this, come on, Odin. You'll see the yellow numbers right there, that 18 of kin size getting procced on her. And then if you auto with a Hydra's after that, you're at like 180 on the auto, right? So this is where you can start getting into making her an ability-based jungle, right? Or an ability-based hunter even. Her kit is very versatile, and you're able to use like these certain things to make her like really, really effective, right? So things like Hydra's will sync with this really well because you basically come in here, you're able to attack her, do the damage, get the Hydra's proc on that next auto. And it's sort of like a free auto, like the way you're set up, the way you're aligned when you kind of dash back off of her. It makes things like that certain easy. You're gonna proc effects like the kin size, right, on that. Any of those will work with this. And I guess I should clarify. I wanted to show you the crit too. So let's look at the crit. Get a bunch of crit real quick. Like a bunch of. Where's the Deathbringer? Where's the Rage? All right, guys. Is that enough crit? I don't know if it's enough crit. Now it's enough. I have a 100% crit chance. You'll see her get a crit attack off of this when she does the leap. See that? The 98 plus the 504, right? You're just doing a ton of extra damage here just with this one ability, right? And it's basically like if you have really good crit chance, almost like a free crit, right? Normally you're doing 490, 468, 468. You do this, boom. I know it doesn't show the number, but I'm pretty sure it was like 5 something. So because you're getting that extra 110% of your physical basic attack power, right, on this. So it's like a nice free basic attack that does a little bit extra damage on it, which is really, really nice. One more time. Boom, 504. And that was without like the Wind Demon passive proc and all that stuff, which is extra penetration and stuff like that. So really good when it comes to proccing the crit chance as well. One thing I wanted to clarify was Hydra's doesn't proc on the basic attack itself. It's like the attack afterwards, right? That was one thing I should probably clarify. I don't know if I made that confusing. Hope I didn't. But Hydra's, it's after the ability is done, your next basic attack. I was just saying when you do it, the way you're lined up like this, if you just hold down left click, you're going to auto them. Like the way it works, like the way it comes in and she bounces off of it, it makes it really easy. And then obviously Hydra's with doing something like this, right? After using the ability, you get that proc. You are going to be proccing Hydra's very easily with her one. With any of those abilities, any of these, right? You do that, you now have the Hydra's proc. You do that extra damage with your next basic attack. You do this, do that, you proc it, you still get the Hydra's, right? You see that 173 versus the 128. That's the Hydra's proccing, right? And then obviously with this, you just hold left click, and by the time you hit the ground, you're hitting a basic on. So very easy to hit the Hydra's proc. You don't hit it in the air, you hit it after you've already done the flip. So let's talk about her ultimate ability, and then we'll get into some builds and things that you can do with her. I know I talked a little bit about them already because I just thought they were very good to bring up in the moment, like showing you like, hey, this is how this synergizes with her 1 or her 3, right? Let's talk about her ultimate ability called Blades of Retribution. Ishtar becomes CC immune and summons 5 swords of light, firing them out in a cone in front of her. Each sword damages and cripples enemies for 1.25 seconds. When the sword reaches their destination, Ishtar may recall them to her location within 3 seconds. If an enemy is hit by both the initial fire and the recall, they are stunned for 1 second. Each sword hit after the first deals reducing damage, resetting before recalling. So, basically, you want to hit them with the swords. This is what it looks like, right? These are like the 5 swords that are going to come out. This is like their arrows and stuff like that. And I'll show you what it looks like here. You send it out. That's what it looks like. And then they will come back here in a second, right? And if he's hit again, coming back, that's when you get the stun. Now you can fire it early, and you can make it come back faster if you need to, right? So you can come up here, and you can do this, and you can press them, and then mash it, right? And it'll come right back. That's as fast as you can probably do it, like back and forth. Or you can send them back, zone somebody out with it, and then have them come back. And now remember, it is nice to hit them with all of them, but you're going to do reduced damage, right? So if you can somehow get up in front of somebody's face, right? Hit them with all 5. Yeah, that's going to do a lot of damage, right? And then obviously on the way back, he gets stunned. So if you get up in somebody's face, you will do reduced damage per sword, but it's still extra damage, right? So it's no harm, no foul. Like if you can't hit them all, do it. But it's a nice tool. It's a nice zoning tool. It does a lot of damage. And it goes pretty far too. You're able to really like, right? You're able to kind of do that and set it up. And with your like 2 and your 3 and stuff, you're able to really like zone people out. That whole zone between you and the edge of your ultimate basically becomes like your ability to like control the map, right? You're sitting here, and you're doing something like this, and you hit this, right? And then you do this, and then you call them back, and then you mez them with that, right? That's like a lot of stun in a short amount of time. To be able to use your ultimate, use your dash, keep them there. When you come back, pull your swords back when you land, it stuns them, right? So you're kind of keeping them in one place for a pretty long time between the initial sword coming out, you dashing them, they're staying there. As soon as you hit the ground, the swords come back, it stuns them. Then you use this to mesmerize them for a little bit, right? You're able to do a lot of damage. You get a lot of stuff out right in a row just with like these abilities here. So yeah, it isn't too much when it comes to like, you know, there isn't too much to it. She does become CC immune, so that's something to think about and utilize when she does fire this ability, right? For the second that she glows, she's CC immune. It's basically like a free beads if you time it correctly, and you're getting pulled by like an Ares chain or Daiji ult or something like that. If you use this at the right time, you will become immune to that pull, get the chains off you, all that stuff, right? So pay attention and use this to kind of get out it if you can. The cripple is important, right? When the swords go out, you do get a cripple, which means movement speed abilities can't be used for 1.25 seconds. So when you use it, somebody can't leap away for 1.25 seconds. This enables you to get off another damaging ability, to auto them down, like any of those sorts of things. So really quick, for 1.25 seconds after using it, just know you can do things like dash them, keep them there, right? So right now, he can't use his leap, so I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, right? I'm going to do these other abilities to him because he couldn't get out. And so it helps you set up other things. It helps you lock somebody down. Maybe even just, you can just ult and hit them with like a few basic attacks, and they're going to get, you know, maybe melted by the way you have your build, right? So speaking of builds, let's talk about items that can be used on. First of all, I think she is probably going to do really well with crit attack speed type of build, right? So you can build something like Gilded Arrow, and then you can do the crit attack speed of some, right? Would probably look something like this. I would probably still opt for like an Executioner at the very end here, or Kins, right? So either of these would be fine. Let's do Execute. With a build like this, you're at 2.42 attack speed. How are you going to get the Silver Branch Bow passive? Well, first of all, once you start critting, you're going to get up to 2.5 with Wind Demon's passive, right? And then from here, remember her 1.3 also gives you attack speed. So now you're at 20% on Silver Branch's passive. This actually really makes up for that lost damage, right? Getting this extra power with Silver Branch. If you don't want to do this, the Gilded Arrow, and then you go up to Ornate Arrow, which with Ornate Arrow, because you have gold, you get the stacks on it, right? Which you basically get for every 100 gold, you get 1.25 attack speed, 1% physical crit strike chance, right? With this, you basically have a crit chance of 65, which is like a really good, solid amount. You're going to be critting a lot with this. And then you already have the attack speed capped at 2.5, so you're at 18 stacks naturally. And then you're going to use your 1.3. Now you're at 38, right? And then let's talk about her passive getting into there too, right? Her passive is going to synergize with this really, really well. Once again, you need to get down to 75%, but it will work, right? So now we have this. We get her passive stacks, plus we get this. Now we're at 58 stacks for Silver Branch buff. Like, you do a lot of damage with the way her kit works in a build like this, right? If you're not going to go Ornate Arrow, I would recommend either going, let's see. You're going to either do Leather Cow, right? Or you're going to do Death's Hole into Death's Temper, right? You're going to want the 30% attack speed here. Or you're going to want the Leather's Cow with her, right? Leather's Cow into Hunter's Cow. You're going to get more attack speed when teammates are around you. So right now I have 15%. But if I go to change team and I go near some allies, you will see that I have 13 stacks of the Silver Branch, right? And I guess that doesn't work. This does here. Come on, Odin, you can do it. Am I here? There we go. There's 18. And then now with this, I can use her 1.3, right? And now I'm at 38 stacks. So you're going to want to do a build like this. And like I said before, crit's really good because of her 3. Get that chance to crit off of this. Oh, that's my ally again. I keep forgetting. You're going to get a chance to crit off of her 3, which is why I think it's like so good. Change team. One more time. And then what we're going to do is we're going to talk about how she can be played as probably a jungle as well. Look at that crit, 555 off that bow shot off of her 3. So really great with crit because of this, right? And just the way you can utilize her. So you're gonna probably build something like this when it comes to attack speed with her. It works really, really well. Now let's talk a little bit about ability based. You want to build her as an ability based hunter still. You can do something like the Transcendence start. So you can still do something like Gilded Arrow if you're going to go crit an ability, but you would probably build something like Transcendence, right? And then once you build Transcendence, you want your Aussie for sustain. And then after Aussie, you can do things like a Wind Demon, Deathbringer, and you can even at the end do something like a Heart Seeker or a Crushers or something like that. Like, this is a good hybrid build. Back to items here. You'll still have 50% crit chance, and then once you upgrade your Ornate Arrow to Ornate Arrow, right, you have an even higher percent crit chance, 75, once you get those those money stacks on there. And with something like this, you're going to hit like a tank. So you're not hitting as fast, but you're going to hit so hard. Look at that. Look at those numbers. You use your 1.1, right? Your crit is less, remember, on something like this, but you're still doing the extra damage in general. You're able to do a lot of damage. Boom. Look at that. 870 plus a little extra. Gonna hit real hard with your alt. Be able to stun people. This is gonna chunk the crap out of people, right? Honestly, I probably wouldn't even. I might not even do the Heart Seeker end here. I might. I don't know about Silver Branch, because you need a little bit more pen on the end of something like this. Executioners might even be good for something like this. Whoop. Ferocious Execution, just like really good in general, right? So something like this, you're going to be hitting You're gonna have more pen, that kind of stuff on the end of here. 919 with a basic attack, dude. That is just disgusting. With a build like this, right? Even more ability based, I guess you would forego the crit on her. This is where you start getting into jungle, right? You're going to use her as a jungler. You can basically build stuff like Transcendence, Usher,
Anything for power.
like a Titan's Bane, Heart Seeker. You'd probably get a Jotun's early too. For the cooldown, right? Between Jotuns, this. You might even grab like a Soul Eater, maybe instead of Crusher. But even with a build like this, like, you are going to be doing so much damage. Your auto attacks will not be as much, but you will be able to dish out a lot of damage. Come on back, do that. For 1.1. Boom, boom. Be able to do all this stuff. Tier 3. And with the big stuff. So this is where you start getting to more ability-based stuff. Like I said, I would probably get something like Minions on her if you're going to do a jungle type build. Wherever.
I'm not really into
And what you
such
can do,
heavy armor.
like I said before, you can clear camps super fast and super easy with her 1-1, right? You're able to apply it to multiple camps, apply that burn damage to all of them as well, right? And then what I would do is I'd probably upgrade. You can probably do like a Mannequin Mace with her. Her ultimate might be a good engage tool with Mannequin Hidden Blade as well. If you want that basic attack damage, Mannequin Mace. Get Mannequin Hidden Blade. You basically probably would want to start with your ultimate and get that extra like 20% off of somebody's health. Check this out. When you do this, like, look at that. From that far away, you bring it back. You just do a lot of damage with her ultimate with a build like this. Kind of dumb, honestly. Something like this, right? Let's do that one more time. Just look at how powerful this is. Start. So if you get your 1.3 ready, you just do this. All that back, like, and you hit them with both ends. Like, dude, they're just toast. These guys are toast. But yeah, that's about it for Ishtar. I know there's other builds. Everything is new with her. She might get retuned in like a week or two here, but that's the basics of her kit. How you can utilize them. Just some items that you can synergize with her as well. Like I said, you could get something like Hydras if you wanted even more cooldown. Maybe trade Crushers for the Hydras and just be using those auto attacks, right? I think the biggest thing with Hydras is being able to dash, hit this, and just hit that Hydra's proc like super easy, right? You hit something like this. It's just, her kit just feels really good, really nice. It feels like she can be a hunter and be fighting people within melee range and be perfectly fine with a build like this, right? Just rely on her tools, rely on her kit. Forgot about one use disarm.
I gotta do something about this guy.
Let's do a raw. Let's see what it looks like. We hit him with an auto, hit him with that. Like, look at that, man. You didn't even stand a chance. When you hit those Hydras procs, man.
I mean, halfway to 22-0.
Yeah, she's just really good right now. Of course, she feels good. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys learned something when it comes to Ishtar and her kit and her abilities. If you guys have a build that you think works really well, share it in the comments below. Tell us what position it's for. If it's a carry build, tell it's carry and put the items in there. If it's a jungle build, say, hey, try this jungle build. This will be really cool. If you guys want to learn more, or if you have other questions about Ishtar or any other gods, feel free to join our Smite learning Discord server. It's called the Smite Dojo. It's a learning Discord server, so you can be brand new, jump into it and learn about Smite. But even if you've been playing for years, we have people that are in there that are experienced. They play ranked. You know, we have Diamond and Masters level mentors that help out newer players. We all sometimes just play and meme around a lot too, so don't feel like, hey, I need to be learning to join in. Feel free to join the community, hang out with us, play some games with us. We're always playing games. We do the Smite nights together. We do the 5v5 conquest. We'll play arena. We'll play assault. Like, we have somebody for everyone in there, right? If you want to play Smite with friends, or make new friends playing Smite, join the Discord server. Come hang out with us, enjoy it, have a good time. And then if you really want to be serious and really get into Smite and learn more, that's definitely the place for you. We have a lot of people that can help you. We have masters and diamond level mentors that can do one-on-one trainings with you, play conquest with you, do VOD reviews, show you what you're doing wrong, what you can work on, like those sorts of things too. So feel free to join that. The link is in the description below. Also, if you guys want more content like this, feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I am coming out with a god guide for every single god in Smite. And then I also do like just random stream highlights, videos, all that stuff. So feel free to check all that stuff out. We also do item review guides, just some gameplay and stuff like that too. So if there's something that you want me to cover, or there is something you had a question about, you want me to do a video on, please feel free to suggest it. I would love to do that. Thank you guys very much for watching, and all I want to say is, hey, have a great day.